thrill. Not too many people get to do it, right? All right, so big weekend for
sports. He has a. Don't you have a question?
Oh, that's right.
I do.
Ron has an
Okay.
ATI.
Stump ATI question. I'm going to low hanging fruit because this guy has I've heard this you could hear from us before. He knows way too much about racing. So this is easy stuff for him. But who is the only person to ever win the Indy 500 on their birthday?
On their birthday.
You talking about a great birthday present. That's a good birthday present.
Good one.
What's a good one?
Is it okay? So I know that
Jeopardy theme songs.
I know that Al Unser Jr. So I'm gonna go with Al Unser Sr.
That's a good reason to remember. The year I was born, 1971. Al Unser Sr.
What do you know? Look at ATI.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because he actually deduced. I remember him winning it on his dad's birthday.
So ATI, thanks for the report, man. That's cool. So, other things that happened this weekend, Robert and I texted each other right before the seventh game of the Heat and the Celtics, and we both said, I think Boston's going to win.
I just wanted to jinx the Celtics to make sure from somebody that he picked the winner. So,
well, how about this? I mean, it was Boston that came back from a 3-0 deficit to beat the Yankees, right?
correct.
It was
04.
It was Boston, New England / whatever came back and beat the Falcons. So I just figured, maybe this is it. But
that little leprechaun's just running wild over there.
But also this year, it was Miami that defeated the Bruins when
That's
the
correct.
Bruins had a 1-goal lead in the last minute of the game.
That's correct.
And then the
Both-
Panthers beat them in overtime.
Both teams from Miami took out both teams from
Both
Boston.
teams
this
from
year.
Boston. That's wild, isn't it?
Never
Yeah.
know. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. But last week I said that I'll pick Miami because it's never been done. But then I found myself picking Boston on the night of. But it is what it is.
Well, you like to cover your bets on that,
I picked both sides.
I picked
Yeah.
this one on Tuesday and Wednesday, but by Thursday I was a much smarter man.
Obviously, I
went,
wasn't.
I went the other way.
Yeah.
Well, however that
I had a
works.
friend tell me that I never admit to being wrong on the show, but I think I admit quite often being wrong on the show.
Well, you didn't just then. You just kind of hedged
Oh,
that
no.
one.
I said I was wrong. I picked Boston. Winning Game 7.
You can say that. You can say this. You can say, "I'm not wrong, but I'm just not correct."
There you go.
could
So
just say that.
do we think if Tatum had not got hurt on the first play of the game that it would have made any difference?
I don't know. Sometimes you're so far back, and when you look at that Game 6 closing, with the shot and the putback with what 0.01 seconds left, sometimes it just takes the emotional toll on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming back game after game, and then we get to go home for this. The fact of the matter is, they'd have probably won Game 7 had it been in Miami.
Yeah, and what Spoelstra said was that ball could have bounced any other way,
Any other
and
way.
game over.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. So
I saw a funny tweet the other day that the Larry Bird Trophy was presented to Jimmy Butler in Boston, and the Magic Johnson Trophy was presented to Nikola Jokic in L.A.
that's pretty cool.
Unless you're those two cities and you're like, no, I don't care. Send it UPS. I don't FedEx the thing. I'm not giving it to him on my court.
So very quickly, as Robert pointed out last week or a couple of weeks ago, we have two Miami teams hosting the finals for the Stanley Cup and for the NBA championship. So will Miami win either one of these, or will they not?
Nobody's ever pulled the twofer.
Oh, really? Nobody?
No, it's been done. There's been the Celtics and Bruins have done it in 57, 58, 74, and most recently Golden State and San Jose in 2016. But nobody's ever pulled the twofer. The closest it ever came was the 94 Knicks. The 94 Knicks. The Rangers won their first Stanley Cup in 56 years or something. That was when Messier came back, and then I believe as I read it, it was the Knicks. The Knicks tied it the next night in the Garden, 2-2. Went on to take a 3-2 lead, and that was it. Elijah Wan and the Dream for Game 6 and 7.
All right. So I will go ahead and be the first to say that I'll take Vegas and the Nuggets.
Anything but Miami. I like that.
Yeah. I just I think the Nuggets will win in 5. I mean, I think Miami's kind of got to be tired. I mean, that's
Well, and you talk about playoffs, all that kind of good stuff. But at the end of the day, when you're the Heat, they've been playing playoff-like games for the last month of the regular season. Because if they didn't win, then they wouldn't even make the playoffs.
well,
So-
Boston had 5 games in a row that they were elimination games, and they won them all.
And then the only other thing to throw out there is what about a team that's been sitting? Because there's been a couple teams sitting for a long time.
Yeah.
Denver's well rested, so
Is it well rested?
Is it
or
well
it
rested or you rusty?
Yeah, that's always the argument.
It's a big argument.
I think I'd rather take well rested, all things considered.
Oh, I definitely would over this Heat team, and in hockey too, just because it's so taxing anyway. Having fresh legs under you's got to be worth something.
That's why I think the Heat will win one game. I think they'll muster up the strength for one game, but I think the rest of them they're toast. So we'll see.
Yeah,
But it was close. If you look at the season, they were pretty close as far as the games go. I forgot, it was pretty much.
You want to tell me
split.
about head-to-head games?
Yeah.
I'll go with the left coast with you, Chuck. I'll take everybody on the other side of the continental divide. I really don't care about Vegas and the Golden Knights, and not a huge Nugget supporter, although this is their first finals in team history. That's got to be nice.
And I've never watched them play until they played the 4 games against LeBron and company. So, but I was most impressed.
Let's throw easy. I'm going to throw ETI one more easy one. You ready?
Uh-oh.
Teams that have not won the NBA Finals.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry. I'll go played in the finals. Have never made it to the finals.
Played in the finals.
Which is what team has the longest streak?
Oklahoma
take a
City played
guess.
in 2011. It's not Golden State. I'm going to go with the Knicks.
Can I make my guess?
Sure.
I would say the Hawks.
No, because technically the Hawks
St.
are giving
Louis.
credit because of St. Louis.
Ah, okay.
But I thought this was interesting from how long they've been around. The Clippers. 53,
Wow, the LA
53
Clippers.
years they've been around.
Wow.
I wouldn't have thought they'd been around for 53 years, but futility at its highest, sharing the same building as the people with all the banners.
There you go. Alan, who are you picking?
I was going to say the Hawks, but when I'm talking about St. Louis, you mean for the
I'm
game?
talking about for the
Denver. I'm going with Denver. I'm not a big fan of Miami, but I just think Denver being well rested, and what can you say about Jokovic? What can you say about him?
Joker's a good basketball player.
Yeah, he is.
Not too many 7-foot guards that'll bring the ball up every time and then go into the post and take you to the rack. So
No, he's good, and this is big for them. You want a couple MVPs, and regardless of people tiptoeing around things, a lot of people question it when you give an MVP in the NBA to a white guy, and you gave him 2 in a row, and his team stunk both years. So then this year you decide maybe we shouldn't give him 3 in a row. So him getting a win could help that narrative for him.
So it's clear that we've all picked Denver. So we may as well talk about Clear Mortgage
Clear Mortgage.
while we're doing that.
Absolutely, because it's all clear. Here at Clear Mortgage, we deliver exceptional service and some of the fastest turn times in the industry. Our team will stay in touch with you throughout the process and get your home closed quickly and conveniently. Whether you're buying or refinancing, our goal is to have your loan clear to close in 30 days or less so that you can focus on everything else. Whether you're a pro or a rookie, Alvin's got you covered. Give him a call at 404-587-9033.
Thank you, Alvin, for
Clear
being a
Mortgage.
sponsor. Enjoyed having you on last week.
Absolutely.
Alvin knows his NBA stuff, so it was good to have him on. Speaking of stuff, I'm looking here at the Braves, and they scored 3 runs in the 5th, but now the A's have come back and scored 2 more, and the Braves are up top of the 7th with man on first and nobody out.
I blame Chuck. It's Chuck's fault. Chuck said the Braves were up early.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
clearly we got this
Yeah,
one now.
I'm blaming Chuck.
I'll
Chuck's
take it.
fault.
I'll take it. But, we have already lost 2 to the A's, which only one other team has done. You know who that is, Adam?
No, I have no idea.
It's
I don't
baseball,
watch
I know.
Baseball.
Kansas City.
I
Which
was
is
gonna
the
go with
second worst team
Yankees.
in all of baseball.
Yeah.
So it kind of stands to reason.
So, have the Braves met your expectations for what you had thought for this year?
It's a long season. Yesterday marked the 3rd of the way season. They'd played 54 games going into yesterday, which means a third of the season was done. And, I'll go back to the old baseball adage that you can't win the pennant in April, but you can sure as heck lose it.
Yeah.
And, we're a third of the way through. We're in first place. So, that's a good thing. Could we be doing better? Sure. But, all in all, I'd say we're pretty good.
So they have met your expectations.
I don't ever want to say met my expectations. Acuna is playing better than anybody on the planet, and we're not up by 30 games. I'd like to have a much larger lead considering how well he's been playing for the first 2 months. But when you look at it, it's kind of funny because I always bring up run differential, and sometimes I think I beat that drum too much. But at the same time, there's a couple divisions right now that if you look at them, the Braves are the only team that have a positive run differential. Everybody else in the division
In the East?
in the NL East is negative, -11, -46, -40, -32. It almost looks like the Central because in the Central on the AL side, Minnesota's +40. The next closest thing is -36. So I'm penciling Minnesota into that they've already won the division. I don't know how you could come from +40. And Detroit is only a game and a half behind them, but have scored 96 runs less
In Minnesota.
than Minnesota.
Wow.
That's not a stat that's going to hold for much longer. So we'll see what happens. But Texas looks really good.
Texas looks good.
They spent a lot of money in Texas, and they've done that many times. But this time they're actually getting a return.
They are. How about you, Alan?
Yeah, I think they've met their expectations. Keep in mind, too, the past couple of years, the Braves were behind until they got to about the All-Star break. And they were trying to catch up, and everybody's like, what's going on here? And, you look now and see how many pitchers are down. It's hard to say they haven't met expectations. And also, they had some injuries here and there. And, I'm amazed at Acuna. I heard the stat the other day that his first inning, he's batting .560 something.
Correct. It's
That's
stupid.
incredible.
It's
That's
stupid.
just unbelievable.
No,
I've never heard of a stat like that.
No, it's incredible. His first inning, he was batting like .523. I probably heard it a day or two different than you. And
So he dropped. He's sucking now. He's down to
or when I heard the stat, he went 3 for 3, and that's when you heard the stat.
And see, my other my other intake on that, if he's hitting .563 in the first inning, is that what we're saying?
Mm-hmm.
That means he's batting like 200 for the rest of the game.
No, not at all. Not at all, because he's getting
It's
4
gotta
at-bats
balance
a game.
out somewhere.
He's got
Yeah.
he's getting 4 at-bats a game. But, if you can start out, there's nothing like a prize fight where somebody goes and hits you with a jab right in the middle of your face.
Yeah.
That's Ronald Acuna. Hey, the game just started. Yeah, there he is. Now he's on base.
What
It's
do you
going to be interesting to see what they do with it. They brought that kid up, A.J. Schwarber. Is that his name? To see what he's kind of been really talked about. Let's see what he's got. See if he can come in and give him some innings and stuff.
Well, Soroka pitched for the first time in the first game in Oakland, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah,
He didn't. I mean, he gave up 4 hits. I think one of them was a 3-run homer.
He had one bad inning, but most important in that particular matchup, he came back out the next inning and went 1, 2, 3. So he's got that going into his next start.
So, do you think they've exceeded my expectations, Robert?
Chuck, your expectations of Atlanta teams are usually pretty low, and
he's lived here a long time. So
yeah. There's a lot of disgust that comes out, and
Well, you're kind of in the right path, but I would say they've exceeded my expectations greatly because I didn't know what they're going to have with the loss of Swanson. I didn't know what they're going to have in terms of pitching. Everybody says, "Oh, the Braves got the greatest pitching staff in the world," and whatever. But nobody ever accounts for injuries. You know, nobody ever accounts for things that other teams have. And I did a little deep dive into what the Braves have done. When do you think they were first 9 games over 500?
This year?
Yeah,
Have they
Game,
been?
game 15.
April 17th. They were 9 games over 500. As we sit here today, they are 9 games over 500. So since April 17th, they played 500 ball, right? So the fact that they're still in first place over exceeds where I thought they would be, given what the circumstances are. Now, I did a really deep dive here, Robert. I don't know if you looked at my notes or not, but these are the teams that the Braves have won series from. They're 2-1 over Washington, 3-0 over St. Louis, 3-0 over Cincinnati, 3-0 over Kansas City, 6-1 over Miami, which is pretty impressive. 2-1 over Baltimore, 2-1 over Texas. Those are the only 2 teams that they have won series with that are over 600. Baltimore's at 636, Texas 649. 2-1 over Seattle at 509, and 2-1 over the Mets at 509. But
However, here comes the other side of the list.
and there's always another side of the list, right?
Absolutely.
So the teams they are under 500 against: San Diego 3-4. Thought that would be more impressive, but it's not, because San Diego's only playing 463 ball.
Correct.
Houston's 0-3. Houston's playing 593 ball. 1-1 against Boston. They're at 519. 0-3 against Toronto. They're at 527. L.A. at 1-2, and L.A.'s at 607. And the Phillies they're 2-2 with. Just split a 4-game series with them. And as of right now, they're 0-2 against Oakland.
And even after we win this game, it's still going to be a losing record. So.
Yeah, and you know what amazes me about Oakland? Out of the 12 wins they had, you know, they only had 10 coming into the series. How many of them were walk-offs? Of their 12 wins, how many do you think are walk-offs?
5?
5 walk-off wins.
Yes.
Almost half your games you win, you're walking off.
We barely win it all, but if we do, it's probably going to be in the last
And it's going to be
at-bat.
exciting. So, yeah.
So you got to give the manager credit for just getting these guys to hang around, you know.
But you know something about the Braves this year. I mean, and they're killing on the road. I mean, I think at
Absolutely.
home, I think at home they're even.
They're
I mean,
one game over 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just toasting people.
We talked about that last week.
17-9 on the road, and once again, we just lost 2 in a row to the worst team.
To the worst
So,
team
you know,
in baseball. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I think they're playing better. You know, our next question, who's hot and who's not?
Well, let me ask a question real quick. Do you think
You
when they
can't
came in,
ask a question.
when they came in,
Are you capable of asking a
I'm
question?
capable of asking a
Okay,
question.
go ahead.
Do you think when they came in Oakland, they kind of let down a little bit? Or do you think they just, it's just baseball?
I think
it's just
I think
baseball.
I think it's just
It's
baseball.
162 games. You can't win them all.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you know, it's we talk about it with baseball and the hockey playoffs, and you know, sometimes it just doesn't matter what all of the stats tell us. You know, it just doesn't work that way.
Does it matter this early in the season, Robert, who you're beating, or does it not?
Well, no, you know, as my friend Scott texted me last night, you guys all think I'm overreacting, but come September, these games are still worth the same amount. Yes, he's absolutely right. But, you know, that's why it's good that we beat the Rangers 2 out of 3 and a few other things. Sometimes, like you said, maybe we're playing to the level of our competition.
Yeah. There are a lot of teams around Atlanta that have done that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. Tampa Bay is still the number 1 team in there, right?
Tampa Bay is really good, but you know
But they've leveled off some from where they started.
They're nowhere near what they were. I mean,
Yeah.
right now they are. They've got a 3-game lead over the Orioles. They're only 5-5 in their last 10. And remember, when they were winning all those games to begin with, they were at a plus 100 run differential in like the first 15 games. But they're only at 118, so they haven't done much in the last month and a half.
Well, let me ask you this: if the Braves play 500 ball the rest of the way, will they win the division?
No.
Yeah.
It'll be close, but no, they have to win some more.
Yeah, because if they're 9 games over, that means they have 85 or 86 wins, right?
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know the Mets and the Phillies played yesterday, and that was the first time they've played this year.
Well, and that's the thing with the new schedule. You know, you used to play all of your teams in your division 20 times. Now it's only 15 times, and that might sound like, wow, or that's hardly anything. No, that's a huge amount.
So we're have we played the Mets yet? We have. Yeah, we're
played the Mets.
2-1 against the Mets, 6-1 against Miami, and 2-2 against Philadelphia, and 2-1 against Washington. So Philly's the only one in the division that we've even broke 500 with. We've got a good record against everybody else.
Right. And that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Supposed to beat up on those teams. And that's what Tampa Bay did early. You know, when Tampa started out with that incredible win streak, the first two teams were the Royals and the A's.
Yeah.
You know, the two worst teams. Well, are they the worst team because they had to play the Rays to start the year? Probably not. But that's probably helped the Rays with their win streak.
Yeah, and we can say the opposite. We're losing to the A's, although we did sweep Kansas City earlier in the year. But we got Washington, and Washington's no great shape. They're like at 2-11 or something like that.
No, but baseball, that 162 games, you better want to play all the horrible teams when you get a chance, because whatever's horrible this week might actually have their act together in 4 weeks.
So when do we look at it again? At the when it's 2/3 of a season through, or after the All-Star break?
I think the All-Star break at
Yeah.
the halfway point. Generally speaking, I think the halfway point's usually like the week before the All-Star game, but All-Star break's always a good benchmark to say, okay, what can you do from here? That's where you can start saying, can we play 500 ball and make it all the way through?
Yeah.
Also, along with that line, Alex Anthopoulos always comes up with something. He pulls a rabbit out of his hat. If there's something he looks at, we need, he winds up, thinking about Jock Peterson, think about Jorge Soler.
Absolutely.
He always seems to pull a rabbit out of his hat.
Well, and I like to always throw Double-A under the bus on that one. The reason why we had to sign 4 outfielders was because he did a horrible job of building the lineup before the season started. But I will say this, as far as pitching injuries, I'd rather take all the pitching injuries I can in April and May,
Of course.
to let him. So if you get one in August or September, there's nothing your GM can do. You get an injury right now, he's already thinking, okay, I need to add somebody. So hopefully,
He's looking now. He's kind of
Absolutely.
his own thing,
Absolutely.
his own thing, and see where things are going to be.
I heard something on the radio today that a year ago they had a team meeting because they had just lost 2 to somebody that wasn't good. I don't remember who it was. But should they have a team meeting now? Who was it, Larry? Oh, I thought you said something. But should they have a team meeting today? I said, no. Last year they weren't even at 500. This year they're 9 games over 500. Why do you have a team meeting?
well,
It's not time to panic.
team meetings are a little neither here nor there. Do you have a team meeting because your coach doesn't say the right things? I always like the players-only meeting. Really? You need a players-only meeting? Well, the Boston Celtics might need one of those, but that's a different story as well.
Absolutely different story. All right, so we will revisit the Braves. We'll obviously keep you updated on what's going on today. The A's are up in the bottom of the 7th now, and looks like somebody just flew out to center. So 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Let's get on to our next commercial, which is
Modern Image.
Modern Image.
Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper.
Go Dogs.
Thank you, Chuck.
This next segment is one we call the greatest athletes. The greatest athlete ever to wear the number 7, plus whatever ATI comes up with for a race car driver, because we know where he's going.
Should we make ETI go first?
Yeah,
I'll go first.
let's
I'll
get
go
the insignificant out of the way. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey. I'm not mean to you guys.
That's because
Oh, no, me too. We're just stating the fact. We love you.
We're picking people everybody else knows, but go ahead.
I'm picking somebody everybody should know.
In your mind.
This week.
Hey, Mike's back.
What do you got?
I'm going to go with 2-time Formula One world champion, Kimi Räikkönen.
I've got supposed to.
If we walked around this bar right now
Not
and
a
asked
single
everybody who Kimi Räikkönen
Even
is,
that girl who was hitting at you on the bar that I told you about, she's never heard of that guy.
No, that is false.
It's not false.
Don't you
But
have his-
continue.
it
Tell
is
us
a true
why.
story.
Don't you have his poster on your wall?
Who, Adams or Kimi Räikkönen?
Kimi Räikkönen. I mean,
No, Adams is
I
on
bet
my wall.
Rick's man cave.
Kimmy's
His
is
man
in my
cave.
closet.
Go over there and ask Rick if he knows who Kimi Räikkönen is. Rick Limpert right there. Oh, jeez.
Just because he's the smartest guy in the bar,
He's the
doesn't mean we
smartest
should
guy in the
give him
house.
the
That's
honor.
it. Look, I've never seen a bigger smile when Adam turned around.
He's the 2007 Formula One World Champion, 21 wins, 103 podiums, 18 pole positions in 353 starts.
Where's he from?
He's from Finland.
Well, I was gonna say it was. It sounded like he's from Iceland when you said that.
Yeah, he's from Finland.
All right, so we got that out of the way. Let's get on to the real athletes. This was my hardest one to do so far. It really was. There are some great athletes that are in this bunch. Yeah,
There's
There's only one that sticks out for me.
I know who you're going to take. I
It's the
bet
Mick. You got to be.
Mickey is pretty talented. Yeah, there are a lot of good things about Mickey, but there are John Elway.
Yeah, he's great.
John Elway. Ronaldo. I'm surprised you didn't even like Ronaldo.
Because a lot of people say he's the GOAT and he's not the GOAT.
Ronaldo. Pele's always a GOAT.
No, Messi is the GOAT. Ronaldo is not the GOAT.
hey,
Okay.
Messi did
Ronaldo-
touched a ball and they called it God one time. It's like, no, that's not a hand of God. It's just a handball.
That's Maradona.
Okay, thank you.
And Ronaldo plays in the Desert League with a bunch of scrubs.
But one thing I would like to say about this list is when you look at it, and you had Chuck had thrown a couple names down. When you look it up on a website, they'll include some names. Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds wore number 24 his entire career when he was in Pittsburgh. Went to
San Fran.
San Fran, which his godfather is number 24, so he couldn't wear it. So he wore 25 most of the time. So I don't even know how long he even wore the number 7 for. It's like 6 months or something. Yeah.
Well, I don't care what number he is. He's not getting my greatest athlete of all time.
Well, but it's like I said to you before. When it comes time for Kobe, and we got a split between 8 and 24, maybe one Kobe with one number would classify. But I'm not giving you half of a career over something else. So.
Yeah, I can get that. Well, also Pistol Pete's on this list, and number
wasn't
7,
that.
he was 44.
That is correct.
Yeah. So, but he was one of the ones that was on here that really made me turn my head. Did a lot of research, and he had a great career. Probably one of the most underrated basketball players of all time.
Clearly.
And I want to pick him, but I can't. I love Elway. I mean, they fought so hard, and they finally got their first Super Bowl against who?
Us.
Falcons.
Falcons in Miami. That was
that was the second
No, that was the second one. That was his last one. Yeah.
He beat the Packers, and then he
Beat the Packers, and then he beat the Falcons. That was the
Eugene Robinson.
Eugene Robinson Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Walter Payton Man of the Year for about an hour and a half.
By now, was it that long?
Before he screwed that stuff up.
Yeah, so there are a lot of great athletes. Elway would probably be way up there with me. He had just a great career. I like the fact that he played at the same place his whole career.
Love that.
Same number, whole career. I just love it. But
I was a little surprised you did this list that you didn't put Michael Vick on there.
Michael Vick was like
He
number
was probably
12 in
he's
this
probably one of the
list.
most exciting.
Well, but he was
Exciting.
he was close to he was way higher than all these other people on my list. Because once again, is he the greatest of all time? No, but man, did I get excited about
Oh
it.
yeah.
Well,
oh, yeah.
you
no
know,
question about
and
it.
again, you get back to talking about, is it really the greatest athlete? Because Michael Vick was an incredible athlete.
Oh, truly. And when you're breaking down based on what you just said and how we have phrased it, Michael Vick should be this answer because clearly he can do a lot of things better than Finnish race car drivers and a few other people. So but I didn't
One
go
thing
with
about
him.
that finish at race car driver, he could finish.
He was a closer.
Yeah, he could finish.
He never went home alone. He was a finisher.
Oh, that's funny.
So who you going with?
I'm going to sit here and think a minute and let you give me yours. But I know you have this penchant for picking Yankees.
I hate the Yankees more than I'd say a lot of things, but I'd just say I hate the Yankees, and it really pains me because I've always known all these numbers, and I always knew who the best one was at each thing. let's start with Elway. Elway was a close second. Elway was a great quarterback. When he retired, he was second in all of the important stats. And he won 2 Super Bowls in a row and rode off into the sunset. It's every freaking story you could ever want. Guy could never win until what? He had a Georgia Bulldog that he was handing the ball off to. But that's when he turned crazy. Elway couldn't win anything until he had Terrell Davis, and Terrell Davis was running left and right. Boy, Elway was a lot better. You know what, the one thing that, when you think about Elway's career, can you tell me about Elway's last game in college?
No.
I know where he went. With
I
Stanford,
think
right?
Is it the
The Play.
Play.
Oh, yeah.
There's something called
the band.
The Play. Well, guess what? Elway drove down the field, and they kicked the game-winning field goal with 8 seconds because the coach said, call the timeout with 8 seconds left. That way, if there's a bad snap, we can redo that. And guess what? Nobody ever does anymore. It leaves 8 seconds on the clock because you saw what happened in that game. But, the guy who got snake bit his entire career finally took care of it. But, yeah, when you look at the Mick was the one. The Commerce Comet. You know why they called him the Commerce Comet? He wasn't from Commerce.
It wasn't from Commerce, Georgia. I know that.
No, he was actually from Kansas. Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
But Commerce is where the mine was because he was in the mines. That's how he got strong. Even after winning his first World Series, his dad had died, and he was taking care of all of his brothers and sisters. So as soon as the World Series went over, he went back to the mine. I'm not making enough. I got too many mouths to feed. It's like good, that's a stud. Not to mention the best name that George Costanza ever came up with for a child.
Seven.
It's a great name.
And when that other couple named Seven, no, Soda.
That's my name. You don't even have a girlfriend, George. What's the problem here?
But you know what? I have seen that as names. There was a kid that played at McEachern, and his name was Seven Cloud. His last name was Cloud, and he was being highly recruited. I never heard anything about him, but he was a defensive end, and his name was Seven. So people have that name.
But, he won the World Series seven times. He won 3 MVPs. He won a Triple Crown. And I want everybody. I challenge everybody at home.
20-time All-Star.
No, there you go. God, it's almost like we are in sync, but we're not. So let me just share this one with you. How is it that you can become a 20-time All-Star, which if you look up right now, Google it at home after the show, and say, how many times did Mickey Mantle go to an All-Star game? I think he went to 20. He only played 18 years. How is that possible? Only, you don't have to lie about New York Yankee stats, but everywhere you look, they will tell you he is a 20-time All-Star, but he only played baseball for 18 years.
Well, how is that possible? Do they have 2 All-Star games?
It's not possible.
Yeah, tickets. He takes the game.
He
just won the
technically
game,
didn't make the All-Star twice in his career. His first year,
But
and
he
I
showed
want to say it
up.
was like 66. So he had 16 All-Star actual visits, but if you look anywhere, it always says 20 All-Star games, 20 All-Star. It's a miracle. Only Mick could end up in more All-Star games than he was since.
Can we assign Adam to investigate that
please.
next week? Adam, we want to report on why Mickey Mantle is said to go to 20 different All-Star games and he only played for 18 seasons.
Okay, I can investigate that.
That's a good one for him to investigate because he likes baseball.
I know it. That's what I'm saying.
I
Get
love
him into the
baseball.
swing of baseball. I know it.
But as much as I love Mickey Mantle, I think it's got to be Cristiano Ronaldo. Like,
Wait, you can't have 2.
I'm picking Kimi Räikkönen. But if I weren't picking Räikkönen, it'd be Cristiano Ronaldo.
So he would be your number 2 guy.
Yeah.
Right. Elway's my number 2.
He's arguably
With Pistol
the
Pete a
third
close
greatest
third.
You're
soccer player
fired.
of all time. You can't
You
fire
are the
me.
biggest
I
loser.
quit.
Goodbye.
Oh, now that one I like. I love that show.
Good Lord. How can you pick 2 people that? Oh man.
I didn't pick 2 people. I'm saying if I didn't pick Kimi Räikkönen, I
heard.
would have picked Cristiano Ronaldo.
We caught on to
So
that.
you started this all with the Mick. I wore number 7 in high school when I played baseball because of the Mick. He was my guy. Loved Mickey. At that time, baseball probably would have been my best sport if I'd have stuck with it. But the Mick was the guy. He was the guy. And I've got a friend named Janine Werner, and I haven't seen Janine in 20 years. But when I used to host karaoke in the early 90s at Fat Tuesdays, Janine came out and sang every week. And you know what? She worked for the Braves in the marketing department, but she also worked with Mickey Mantle on his charity golf tournament out at Reynolds Plantation every year, and she got to go spend the month before the tournament
With the Mick.
with the Mick.
That's pretty cool.
How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so love the Mick. I got to go with him. I'm glad we all agree.
I was reading something. They were talking about how much DiMaggio hated Mick.
Really?
And it was twofold. One, he took his job. You know, there's a reason why DiMaggio retired in '51. Just saying. But DiMaggio was really wanting to show Mickey the Yankee way. You know, that whole mystique that everybody talks about. Boy from Oklahoma really didn't care much about it. And but do you know who his best friend was? His entire playing career?
Not Roger.
Huh?
Not Roger Maris.
No. Nobody liked Roger Maris because he was from the Dakotas and didn't talk to anybody.
Yogi
Yeah.
Bear, just a guess.
No, it was actually Billy Martin.
Really?
A kid from the streets in Oakland and the kid from Nowhereville, Oklahoma became best friends when
I
they
didn't
first
know
met,
that.
and it never stopped until they died. Crazy.
I know one thing. I didn't learn about Joe DiMaggio. He was a dunker.
He was a dunker.
You remember that from the Seinfeld episode?
I know.
Kramer was hilarious. Yeah, I didn't know Joe was a dunker, but he is.
Joe's
Yeah.
a dunker.
Yeah, so that's cool. So I guess we're all three in agreement that Mickey is the best.
Yeah, you know, the last thing I'll say on this is
Oh, let's see, us, the three on the real panel,
correct.
not Kimmy Ronaldo over here.
Kimmy Ronaldo.
Kimmy Räikkönen.
Yeah, I think there's a Disney special called Kimmy Ronaldo.
I don't think that's a Disney special.
It could be though.
It should be Pixar or something. Yeah, that's funny.
That was so funny. I forgot what I was going to say now. But yeah, the Mick. Yeah, what can you say?
You can't pick. You can't go wrong with the Mick. All right, let's do our last commercial.
Do you need a delivery right now? As in go now, please? Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car, van, or pickup. Whether it's from Atlanta to Athens, Dothan to Augusta, Memphis to Charlotte, and all points in between, we've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 5-wood isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly, Bearcat Express with their live tracking capabilities is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast. Check us out at bearcatexpress.com.
Thank you, Blair Cook, for being a sponsor for almost a year now. Blair and David McDonough and Alvin James. So we certainly appreciate our sponsors allowing us to do that. And let me mention this real quickly if you're listening out there. You need to come to Miller's Ale House next Wednesday because not only can you hear us on the radio or on Facebook Live, but we will be broadcasting through the speakers here next week at Miller's Ale House. So come out and
It's gonna
join
be a
us.
lot of fun.
Have a brew or two and some great food. So that'll be a lot of fun.
And just for those who don't know, there's people staring at us right now who can't actually hear what we're saying. So they're looking at us like, what's he talking
What are
about?
the guys
I
doing
can't
over
even
in the
hear
corner?
him.
Hey, Larry,
next week they'll know.
have you determined the exact date of our 75th broadcast?
He's working on
I'm
that.
stumped. This is called ATL, or Stump Larry.
Give me a minute and I'll look it up.
All right, Larry's looking that up. So we're going to be doing our 75th Three Guys broadcast pretty soon, right here from Miller's Ale House, probably within a month. So that would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about NFL. And you know what's really cool? I was telling Larry before the show, this is the last or one of the last weeks we'll have to talk about hockey, or we'll have to talk about the NBA. And as soon as these two seasons are over, it's, in my opinion, it's football season.
Well,
And
it's
let's
really,
talk football.
It's really funny when you look at, like, if you go to CBS.com and you just pull up their homepage, when you look across the top and they have the different tabs for picking different sports. Here we are in the end of May, and you see CBS Sports, Sports HQ, Fantasy, NFL.
What does that tell you?
They
drives the bus.
never pull it off of number one.
No. Well, NFL is the real deal.
It is.
Yeah, no matter how many people don't
8
want to
days a
watch it
week.
because of their political beliefs or whatever, but NFL is the go-to. Larry's got an answer for us. It'd help if we could hear him.
July 19th.
July 19th.
Oh, great! My wedding anniversary. So July 19th, we're going to plan something special here at Miller's Ale House for our 75th show. Maybe can we get 75 people on the show for a 30-second sponsors?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hey, what do you think about? Oh, great! Thank you very much. Yeah, that would be quick. But so the 75th show is coming up July 19th, and we'll come up with something special for that. Maybe some giveaways from Miller's Ale House.
Hey, this first question that you had put down here for segment 4, I'd love our guest to handle this one. He's got the right jersey, and Lord knows everybody who's ever heard me talk about the Falcons know what I'm going to say on this one.
Okay.
All right, Alan.
DeAndre Hopkins cut. Is that a good fit for the Falcons?
I think it is. If you look one thing, it says, "Oh, come on." First of all, if you look at his career, his best year ever had was with the Titans with Arthur Smith being his coach. So there's that. My only question is, another thing is the people the Falcons signed during the free agent period. Do they excite you as far as the wide receivers? I'm like,
no, we don't have any.
Yeah, I'm like, so I think it would be a good fit, but I don't know. I think they need another number 2.
Oh, we need a lot of things.
I'm just
we don't want to get Robert started on what we need.
But my question is, has he been in malcontent? Has there been problems in the locker room? That's what I want to know.
So he's only been with 2 teams ever. He's been with the Texans and he's been with the Cardinals. And the Texans.
And the Titans.
No, just
Arthur
Texans.
Smith was okay. All right.
So he was a huge, that Texans fire where Watt ran out of town and Watson left and everybody left, and now all of a sudden he's in another garbage fire. So I don't know. I'm not trying to call him out and say he's the reason, but there's no way with us not even knowing if we have a quarterback who can throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field, or a coach that might even want to throw the ball 20 yards down the field. There's no need for him to come this way.
Well, I wonder too, though. Also, how much would he cost?
He costs too much.
I think they
He
said,
had 2 years still left on his contract with Arizona, didn't he?
Yeah, it was like $26 million that they had to eat. So and I think Atlanta. I read the other day they had like $10 million left. Now, I don't know how much $10 million gets you, and I know there's capology and capologists, and you can do this,
absolutely.
you can do this. So I'm not sure how all that works.
You talk about cap and capologists. I read something today talking about the June 1st date to be cut by an NFL team. So they just changed this from a June 2nd date to a June 1st date.
That's tomorrow.
Yes,
Correct. And so I was reading this thing, and I was feeling really smart about myself through about 9 paragraphs, and then paragraph 10 came, and it was like, okay, I don't understand any of this. It's very complicated. It's very convoluted, and I think somebody like Hopkins is going to try to find a team that he thinks he might be able to win on immediately. And even if we're very hopeful about our Atlanta Falcons, it's not because we have a guy who's going to throw the ball a lot. So I don't really see a way he ends up here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
I don't think he'll wind up here, but I think it would be a good fit. I mean, I just don't see him doing it. I'm thinking it'll probably be more like Buffalo or Kansas City with Rich get richer.
Well, I think Fontenot has done a good job of recruiting free agency and the draft. I know at first I wasn't real crazy about the Bijan Robinson pick, but you got to consider he's now a receiver. He's not only a running back, but he receives the ball very well out of the backfield. You got Drake London. You got Kyle Pitts. I think we have what we need on the outside. I might be wrong. Robert's sniffing to see what I'm drinking.
Have you seen
This guy never talks like this. Sorry.
Have you seen enough of Kyle Pitts to go, okay, he's really something?
Well,
I haven't
seen it from him. I haven't seen it from London. I sure as heck haven't seen it from the quarterback. So,
yeah, but the quarterback's only 4. He's only had 4 starts.
I understand.
London's had more starts. Pitts has had more starts.
I've seen London and Pitts make a catch where I go, okay, maybe so. I still haven't seen the first pass from our quarterback that makes me go, Ritter's our guy. So I don't know. I still think we can win this division.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
But, that's a different story.
Well, I think Ritter's going to be better than people expect.
I think so, too.
I think I've heard so many people say, well, Kyle Pitts has got to have 1,000 yards this year and 100 catches. But you know what? I don't think he does. I don't think he needs to do that much for us to be that successful.
I think the people who say that don't watch enough football and don't understand that we're never going to target him
Exactly.
150 times
Exactly.
where he can get 100 catches. Same thing with London. These guys are not getting ready to put up any of those types of numbers.
And, we totally agree.
They're gonna run the ball.
The more Bijan runs the ball, and Cordero Patterson and Tyler Algiers, the more they run the ball, the less they have to pass. I mean, a lot of people
Absolutely.
run the ball to set up the pass. I mean, we're going to run the pass, set up the run. What are we going to do?
We're just going to run, and we're going to run, and then they're going to think, oh, now they're going to pass. No, we're going to run some more, and we're going to run so many times that you figure we're going to abandon the pass, and that's when we'll catch you off guard. But I still only, if he throws the ball, I'll go out on a limb and say this. If we're not down, and I'm already throwing a caveat that makes this impossible to check, so I'll get rid of my caveat. He will not throw it more than 25 times, 3 times this entire year.
Ritter?
Yeah.
I think you're probably right.
And-
But I think
and
that's
would-
what Arthur Smith wants.
And I would venture to say those 3 games we're going to be getting hammered early. There's a reason why we're throwing it that many times. So
But I think our run is going to set up the pass, and we just don't have to pass as much. So I think we're all in agreement on that, right?
correct.
I mean, the days of Michael Turner turn and burn, right?
Well, but at the same time, when your tight end gets open because he has to block, and so when Pitts blocks 9 plays in a row, which isn't his forte, then on that 10th play, he's going to be wide open.
Yeah.
But he's got to commit to blocking 9 plays in a row.
Okay, can I ask a question?
No.
What
You've already
is-
asked one this show.
No more.
What is Arthur Smith's fascination with Felipe Franks? I just don't
I
get
think,
it.
I think
just
it's
don't
that
get it.
athlete thing that we
But
brought
he
up.
done nothing.
Well, no, I completely agree. But
We
he's-
agree. But he's the type of player that Arthur Smith likes because he's versatile.
I
he
agree,
can do
but
this
he
and he
ain't
do
done
that.
nothing.
He's not going to be here long. I don't think he'll be here that long.
And heaven forbid there would be an injury on this team where we were looking for a running back. I think you turn him into your starting running back. You go, hey, here's a big guy who can handle the load, but he's done nothing.
No, that's the thing. I'm like, what do you get him on the roster for? I don't understand. I mean, give us someone who seems to be able to do something.
The dead horse that I like to beat every week is the fact that our head coach turned Ryan Tannehill into a conference champion. And so maybe our coach thinks he can do that with anybody.
He has an athlete in mind, a type of athlete in mind, and that's who he recruits. That's who they draft. And him and Fontenot seem to be on the same page. And I think this is the year that matters. This is the year that's going to count more than anything else Arthur Smith has ever done.
I agree.
Contract, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he may if he sucks it up.
He's got the players he wants now.
Yeah,
because he didn't
finally
before.
He finally has a team. That
He has
can,
the team that he wants.
Ryan Tannehill isn't an athlete.
No, we weren't.
Did we say
talking
he
about
was
it.
an athlete?
You said he turned Ryan Tannehill into a conference champion, and then
I
you
said
started
that,
talking
and then
about
he started
athletes.
talking
Don't look
about
at me
athletes
when
'cause
he
we're
said
talking
that.
about Franks. He was making that conversation about Franks.
About Felipe Franks, yeah.
He was still on the Indy drive.
So you can tell that we're all excited about football. And starting a couple of weeks from now, that's all we're going to talk about until the All-Star break for baseball. But let's do this. The Falcons don't have that attractive of a home schedule this year, but they play a pretty impressive road schedule. And I want to see which one, if you could go to, and we're going to even add one. I mean, because we can, because it matters, really. They go to London on October 1st to see play the Jaguars. They go to Nashville on October 29th, Halloween weekend, to play the Titans. They go to Phoenix November 12th to play the Arizona Cardinals. New York, they go to December 2nd and play the Jets during the holidays. And then on New Year's Eve, they go to Chicago and play the Bears. So if money was no object, which one of these games you going to?
London.
Go laugh at the beef eaters in London. That'd be fun. New Year's Eve in Chicago, wouldn't be a horrible game.
Nashville would be cool. That'd be a cool trip.
I mean, November 12th, playing golf, and you go out on a Thursday, play a couple of rounds of golf in the desert,
Well,
and then you go watch the Cardinals and the
I'm gonna-
Falcons.
I'd like to preface all of our answers by saying that regardless of where you go on a long road trip to watch your team, if they don't win, it doesn't matter. So probably the best thing that we can do is everybody go to Tennessee because they're going to be god-awful. Carolina, you don't spend too much money so you can watch.
Yeah, I
them
tried
play
to
a
stay
really
out
good
of.
team.
I tried to stay out of the division.
Well,
yeah.
At Jacksonville. I don't know. What?
Well, no, that's not. It's not Jacksonville. It's London.
Correct.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's where Jacksonville lives now.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm going. Kevin and I talked about it last week. My younger son, he'll be 26 Saturday. We're going to go to the game in Nashville.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I'd love to go see the Falcons play. Very cool little stadium, Nissan Stadium in Nashville.
Very cool.
But I also love New York at Christmas. I'd love to go up there and see him play Aaron Rodgers and the Jets on the 3rd. Probably wouldn't make the trip to Phoenix, although I love golf.
That's a really fun area.
It is. I've been to Phoenix a couple of times.
The stadium's kind of set up like the Battery is here.
Yeah.
So you walk out of the stadium and there's anything and everything at your disposal. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know.
I've never been to London. Have you been to London?
I have.
Yeah.
I've been to Piccadilly before.
And cheerio and ta-ta and all that.
A bit of a disturbance in Piccadilly.
Did you go to the Loo?
Of course I went to the Loo. I didn't hold it.
Well, you never know about Lou.
No, lots of cool stuff to do in England.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But
Back to Seinfeld.
like I said, anywhere they win is a good game. Anywhere they don't win is not. I've been wanting to go to London my whole life. This is my chance. No, don't do it.
And that's
go
it.
the other week because if they don't win that game, it's going to ruin your whole freaking trip.
I've never wanted to go to London that badly.
Then it's okay for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm full.
But- well, you know what? I went to Lambeau Field when they lost, but I still had one of the greatest weekends of my life.
Yeah, but every time you tell me that story, you remind me of my dad, which means if you show up and somebody buys you a hot dog and a beer, you're willing to start cheering for their team. These guys
I
are
didn't
really
pull
good."
for the Packers. I pulled for the Falcons.
Well, but you were okay with the loss because your
Well,
experience
it was
with the
because
Packer
it was
fans
December.
were so good.
It was December 9th, and we were both already out of the playoffs. Nobody was going to make the playoffs. It was just a fun time to be there.
Playoffs.
Yeah. I think Jacksonville's not Jacksonville. I'm sorry, Nashville's my one. If I go,
Oh, yeah.
And Broadway's a great place to hang out for a weekend
It
anyway.
is.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong there. I've been to a game there.
Oh, have you at Nissan Stadium?
I have. I have got an uncle who used to buy barrels of Jack Daniels every year, and so we used to always go to a home game. So I went and saw the Colts at the Titans on a Thursday night, and it was like 42 degrees when we were there. The night before, the high or the temperature the night before was 24.
Wow.
So we were spared by over 20 degrees. But let me tell you, sitting in that stadium at 45-degree weather and not having anybody on my fantasy team and not really caring a whole bunch about those two teams, it was cold. I was sitting there thinking, wow, when they said they want to build a dome in
they're building
in
the one,
Nashville.
Oh, they're building one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
And,
cool.
I think it's going to hurt them because I think that really helps Houston and Jacksonville and Indy help. That was your niche in that division, but
That was your advantage,
It was.
playing outside.
absolutely half
Yep.
the year.
Kind of like Green Bay and places like that, Chicago. And
Yeah.
some of that.
Correct. Once Minnesota built a dome, just come on over.
Well, the Chicago's building a dome too, right?
I've heard that. I've not seen it in its finality.
And its finality. Speaking of finalities, we've about reached the end of the show. You're going to London. I'm going to Nashville, and you said you're going to London.
I'd go to London, but I think I might, if I could hitch a ride, I'd go with your son to see me up in Nashville.
And I'm not going to London. I'm going to Carolina because that's where we're going to win.
I think we'll win in Nashville.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Yeah. 10 wins, Falcons?
I went through and did it a couple
Oh, look
weeks
at you.
ago, and I got 10 wins without even marking all of the games.
Yeah.
We're in a horrible division, and I think
10
I think
wins,
I'll
Alan?
go with 10.
I can live with 10. All right. So we'll be back talking a whole lot of Falcons, a whole lot of college football. The NIL Summit's in Atlanta this weekend, and we're going to be talking about that some on the 7 o'clock, the Owls Who Live Sports show. So Rick Limpert's our guest. Rick's out in the audience now, but we'll be talking about that on that show. But NBA's almost over. NHL's almost over. I can smell leather in the air. So let's get ready for some football. You guys have a great week. Guys, don't forget, thanks, Alan. Know your numbers, cover your ass, get your prostate checked. We'll see you soon. Have a great week.
Take care.
See it.